Sheriff Dan Stanton states, "We have knowledge of things we wish we didn't." What was the sheriff referring to? Let's find out. Take a look at this Kyron Horman Case Revisited early news collection.
Now listen to what the sheriff said about some of the evidence they have uncovered in the search for Kyron.
We have a knowledge of things that we don't want to know about. And that's the only way I can answer that. We have knowledge of things that we wish we didn't.
The big question is, will any of these potentially toxic secrets lead to an arrest and finding Kyron? I want to go back out to Victoria Taft. You're there in the Portland area. Any idea what these toxic secrets are that the sheriff is referring to?
It could be any number of things, but there is something that sticks out in my mind, and it's something that I've been fearful of. You play around the story for long enough, and you start hearing some stories about the family.
Sure.
And of course, let me just give you a hint.
Yes.
Terri Horman, the stepmom of Kyron, who's apparently number one suspect without being called a suspect in this case, was sexting a man she just met at the time that he came to help them find Kyron. In other words, apparently that's perhaps normal for her.
Okay, Bruce McCain.
I don't know what...
Former Captain, pick it from there. I wrote a book called Secrets Could Be Murder, and I analyzed 24 cases based on toxic secrets. And it was always either sex or family or money, but sex was always the number one secret of all the crimes. Bruce?
Well, yes, Gene. As a matter of fact, I was actually discussing this with Victoria today on her show, and I tend to agree that one thing I don't believe those comments were directed to was about what actually happened to Kyron himself. People immediately think, gee, they got some grisly details about Kyron's demise. That's not the case. They don't know what happened to Kyron. They still don't treat it as a homicide. And I think Victoria is absolutely correct that this is really going to be some unsavory details about all of the adults, plural, that are around this whole sordid mess. So,
and the details would have something to do with sex, is your speculation or hypothesis, given that she was sexting somebody?
Yes, I think that's absolutely true. We know about the sexting, texting. There's been some other issues, again, the multiple marriages. There's going to be some unflattering details about all the adults here. I don't think this is just limited to Terri Horman and her sexting, texting. That's not a surprise. He said there's going to be some surprises. We know about Terri. The surprise is probably going to be the people that we're not really focusing on right now in some of their details. But the good news, if you want to call it that, is that this is not bad details about Kyron.